Hello Papercrafters, welcome to another Design with Joe video. I'm Joanne Rogers, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Central Alberta, Canada, and I've been designing with you in mind since 1999. Today I want to show you a super quick technique that you can use with baby wipes, your ink refills, a spritzer, and your vellum paper. And so I've just cut up some vellum here. And you may have seen it before. It's called the baby wipe technique. And stick around to the end because I do want to show you a couple samples that I've made with it. So what we're going to do, we're going to take some of our baby wipes out, and I like these Kirkland ones. I use them in my craft room because they don't have a lot of lint on them, so you can pull some out, and you're just going to lay about 3 or 4 of them on in a little pile. Okay, so you want it to be a little bit softer. You have a little bit of room for the ink to flow. So if you just have one, it's not enough. And so what you can do, if you find that you have some that are not really wet, these ones are not super wet. So what I do is I just give them a little spritz with my spritz tool, Stampin' Spritzer, just to wet them up just a little bit. Because when we put our ink on there, we want to see it flow. So what I'm using today, I've got Daffodil Delight, I have Cajun Craze, and I have Pumpkin Pie. And all you're going to do is take the re-inker and you're just going to dot it all over. Now we're going to create, basically you're creating an ink pad, and you don't want to have a lot of space in between all of your colored dots here. So I'm just, you can see how quickly it lays down, pretty quickly. And then Cajun Craze is going to be my last color, my darkest color. And I'm going to try and fill in most of those spots. And if you have a really dry, a wet one or a baby wipe, then you'll notice that it doesn't move. Now mine, I even put a fair bit on there, but I'm going to spritz it just a little bit more, and you might be able to see it move a little quicker. Looks like I need a little more water in my spritzer. I'm going to put a little more yellow in. I think I want some yellow. A little more Daffodil Delight. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of vellum, and I've just cut these down to size. I could have made this one a little bit smaller, and I'm just going to place it right over top. And when I do, I'm just going to mush it around. So vellum is a little bit different than your regular paper, but all I want to do is transfer some of that paper, some of that color rather, onto my vellum. I'm going to go over it again over here. So you can do this a few times. So your vellum paper is, I started to say, is a little bit more plasticky. So it is going to take the ink, but if you were to wipe that off right away, it would come off. Now you'll notice that your paper will curl, and that's okay. I want it a little bit darker, and I want to try and fill in some of those white parts. So I'm just going to go over it a couple times. And I do have a sample here in these colors just to show you what they look like. So I'll pull that one up. And I think maybe I'm okay with that one just the way it is. So there you go. You're going to set this aside. Now don't be surprised because that is going to curl up, and you just want to dry it. I just put it on a paper towel to dry because I just don't want to get any ink on my other areas. So now I can do another one. So I could spritz it with a little bit more water, or I could add a little bit more ink, or I can take this second impression. Because if I do want it a little bit lighter, this time if I don't want to make it darker, then I just don't rub it as much. Now you'll notice that your hands, oh, these ones are pretty good. Your hands might get dirty. So if you don't like to get dirty when you're stamping and get ink on you, this may not be the technique for you. But when you see the card that I have, you might say, oh, that is pretty cool. Because this really doesn't take very long to do, doesn't take very long to dry, and you can get some really cool things once you cut these out. Okay, so I'm going to leave that guy too, I think. I've got a fairly good color, and because I'm not using this as my overall piece, I'm going to be cutting it out into a shape, then it doesn't really matter. So that's your whole technique. So you can now stamp on this if you wanted. You could stamp words on it, or you can keep making more backgrounds. You can try it on a piece of paper, but I like it. I really like it on the vellum. So I'm just going to close that up. So that's just an refill of the half-wide stamp cases, and you stamp and spritzer. So let me show you a couple samples now. So this is the sample made with those colors. So this is cut out with the wreath builder. So there's a wreath builder in the background, which is this wreath right here, more the spriggy type one. And then I've cut out the vellum with this a larger leaf kind of. Just a little bow on the side and best wishes. And this is another one done with a different color palette. So these ones are all done in blues and done with the So Many Snowflakes. And the colors on this vellum are Balmy Blue, Seaside Spray, Pacific Point, and Night of Navy. So you can see how you get a light and dark effect there. So very quick way to add some difference, a little bit of different color and a different look to some of your stamping. So I hope you give this technique a try and you love it as much as I do. And if you do, please hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss another one of my videos. I have all the measurements and an up close and personal view of this card over on my blog, and you can find the link in the description below. And if you're not yet on my mailing list, why not pop on over to www.designwithjo.ca and get yourself signed up. I post weekly tips and tricks, all kinds of designs and ideas to keep you inspired. And I'd love to have you join in there too. Thanks very much and have a great paper crafting day.